Hey guys, happy Monday. It's Monday the 18th of May today, and it's a very special Monday motivation. Today launches the start of Mental Health Awareness Week. So, yes, I might believe that mental health awareness needs to be raised 52 weeks of the year. However, it's not, and we deal with that. So, this week I am going to be utilizing as much of my ability and my capacity to raise as much awareness as possible and champion mental health awareness, statistics, news, stories. I really want to push how important mental health awareness is because ultimately we need to reduce the stigma attached to it. So today's Monday motivation topic could not be more suited. It's okay not to be okay, or it's okay to not be okay, should I say, before someone corrects my English. It is okay to not be okay. And we touch on this subject because it's so many times that we are forced to be okay. You have to be okay. If somebody sees someone that's not okay, then there becomes this need to make them okay. If you imagine those times when you see someone, oh, you don't look good today, you don't look okay, and you're thinking, well, no, I'm not. But if I say to you, when you ask me, how are you feeling today, I say, well, I'm feeling like absolute shit, to be fair. I don't know why, I've got no reason for you, but I feel like rubbish. Then that there's a stigma attached to that says that it's not okay for you to do that. That's not an acceptable response in society for someone asking you how you are. So we go along life pretending to be okay even when we're not. And it needs to stop. It's not good for us. We all have days when we are not okay. Some of us, we have weeks, and the last 8 weeks of my life, I have definitely not been okay. And I put that out there. I always hold my hand up to my mental health difficulties, and I always talk openly about it, because if there's just one person that watches this video and takes away the message from it, my job's done. Okay? Because you're not the only one out there that's not feeling okay today. You're not the only one out there that wasn't feeling okay yesterday and the day before and the day before. You're not the only one out there that is struggling to manage this pandemic. You're not the only one out there that is not okay with being locked down and kept away from some of the things that have helped you to be okay for however long of your life you've been having to try and be okay. Okay. That's a lot of okays. But we need to make it more acceptable for people to be able to say, well, actually, no, I'm not having a good day today, but it's okay. I don't want to talk about it, which is what the case is sometimes. Or sometimes we have superficial relationships, and those are not the people that we want to talk about our mental health with or our emotional well-being with. If I go back to my first experience of not being okay, and this week I'll be sharing my mental health story and encouraging other people to share their stories so that it can empower others out there that haven't found that strength just yet and haven't found that moment just yet for them to want to share their story, but to know that they're not in this on their own. But my first experience of not being okay, but fearing not being okay, was, or the first experience I can remember significantly, like I can actually picture it right now, was when I was probably about, I think I was in my mid 20s. I was at university doing my degree in youth community play, and I was struggling with some of my assignments, and I didn't know why. And I spent the whole of the Christmas break not communicating with anybody, not coming out my house, not sleeping, not eating, not functioning the way that I'd been used to functioning for however long before. And I even had a partner at that time, but I didn't want to go out and see him because I just wanted to stay in my bubble, in my safety. And part of that was the fear of others seeing that I wasn't okay. And the other part of that was me not feeling like I had the energy within myself to pretend to be okay just for face sake. And I remember when I was told by my tutor when I went back to uni in the January and hadn't completed any of the work I'd been set, I remember her telling me that I needed to take time off. I remember her giving me a book that to this day I swear by. And it's a book called Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am? And that's by an author called John Powell. It's a very powerful book, but we'll talk about that more in another Monday motivation topic coming up. But and she told me that I was stressed, and we use the word stress quite lightly. Oh God, yeah, I'm really stressed out today. Oh God. So to me, it was like, well, being stressed is normal. That's everybody experiences stress, and that's correct. The majority of us at some point in our life will experience certain differing levels of stress, but stress becomes an issue when it is happening for a prolonged period and there's no self-care involved, and it starts to affect your daily activities or your ability to perform your daily activities. So she told me I needed to take some time off uni, but she said I need to go and see my GP. And I remember I worked myself up for a whole 2-3 days, not knowing how to tell the people closest to me that I wasn't okay, that I wasn't coping, that me, the person that is so used to being there for everybody else, is so used to helping other people be okay, and is so used to taking on other people's problems, that I'm not okay. I'm not coping. I'm not managing. It was so hard for me to admit that to the people closest to me, because I feared being judged. I feared those people thinking that if she's not okay and she's not coping, then how can she support anyone else? And it's that fear that drives people on a daily basis to have to hide not being okay. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop right now. It needs to. You need to make sure that there is nobody out there that can ever tell you or make you feel that it's not okay to be okay. I feel like this as a parent. There are times when I struggle as a parent, and some of those times are right now. And I don't feel like I'm necessarily doing the best job possible as a parent right now. But I know it's okay. Because I'm not doing it on purpose. I know it's okay to not be okay. I know it's okay to admit just that. Talk about another demographic. And I do hope that there are young men out there that are watching this And if they're not, but you know a young man out there that you feel could benefit from hearing this, they need to know as well it's okay for them not to be okay. We have been driven for years by society's pressures and cultural pressures to force young men to believe that not being okay is a weakness, that showing emotion makes them less of a man, by filling them with this idea that if they have problems, if they are not coping, then they just need to man up. They just need to get over themselves. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. I am begging you, if you are watching this video, I am saying to you that you need to become one of the people that lets other people know it is okay to not be okay. One of the people that if you have a brother or you have a son in your life or even your partner, you let them know that it's okay for them to not be okay. If there's a professional, like that's another thing. As a professional, we have to keep strong, and sometimes we're not okay. And I understand that you need to be able to demonstrate your professional capacity. But when I tell you, Mind Our Mentalities was partially born out of the fact that one of my ex-employers did not think it was okay for me to not be okay, you start to understand the power that this stigma has. You start to understand the impact on people's lives this has, because I know many other professionals, particularly working within the education sector, that are afraid to let their employers know that they have a mental health difficulty. They're afraid to let them know because they feel like they will be judged. They feel like their capacity to be able to perform will be judged, that their ability to move up in their position will be judged. So again, I say it is okay to not be okay. And we need to get rid of all these scenarios that I've spoken about that tell people something otherwise. I really, really do hope that this message is carried forward. And I will say this again. If you are watching this and this has somehow helped you, changed your perspective, allowed you to reduce the stigma that is attached to not being okay, or challenged your beliefs, then you need to pass it on. Other people need to see this, because other people need that stigma to be challenged too. Other people need to know that they need to stop putting pressure on us to pretend to be okay. Wow. I know I went in there, but as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this topic. And I feel that this is how I need to start the week off, so that for the rest of the week, you are looking out for some of the other things that we as Mind Our Mentalities are putting together in order to show you that it's okay to not be okay. And what we can do, whether we are somebody that has a mental health issue, whether it's somebody that just wants to be more aware of mental health issues and how they impact somebody, whether you have a loved one that has a mental health issue, or whether you work with people that have mental health issues, you need to be in a position that you are empowered to be able to spread the message forward, so that we can hopefully drop the stigma attached to mental health. Take care.